Right, so hi everyone. I'm actually, sorry. I'm happy to see you for our last for this program, and of course we will see you hopefully on the next program we have, and we will send all the details soon, hopefully. So I noticed that today Ne'ama joined us, another colleague from Simi, which she may want to say hi. And unfortunately, Margarita won't be able to join us today, but she will probably send you a message a bit later or by tomorrow. So let's begin. Right, so today we're gonna have a quick review what we've done during this week. So let me start by talking about the communication culture in Israel, which you received in our first two recorded sessions. A little information about our communication culture here in Israel, which is direct communication. You'll see that normally people refer to you by your first name, and you can do the same. Though we recommend it to check with your employer how they like to be called. Sarah talked about it as well. And so we recommend for you to do that. Okay, it's very normal that people will call you by your first name. And now, in Israel, we speak loud in loud tones and with our hands, and our body language is, you will see that a lot. It doesn't mean that we necessarily angry with you or with anyone. It's just that we just speak that way. And oh, sorry, it's okay. Sorry about that. And so, like I said, it's a normal behavior, and I trust your intuition to know if people are angry or they're just talking with their hands and their body. Now in Israel, we're very warm. We hug, we kiss, and you will see that quite a lot. It's normal behavior between friends and family. And now, if someone will touch you in the shoulder or put a hand, or at some point you feel that it's they're too close for you for comfort, I think it's very important to put boundaries and please let them know that they make you feel uncomfortable. Okay. Now, on our second recorded session, about geographic sites and Rakav. If possible, put yourself on mute, the ones you're not talking at the moment. And if you're not on mute, thank you. So we discussed about Rakav, which is a multi-line card where you can use on public transportation. You have 3 different cards, which the first one, and I think it's most recommended, is the personal card, when you will have your photo on it and you have some kind of insurance for your money in case it's damaged or got lost. And when you go there to the public, the central bus station, the central train station, and you tell them that it got lost or damaged, you can pay 10 shekels, get a new card with all the information and the money you had on your old card. Now you have 2 more cards. When one is anonymous and the second is semi-anonymous, which you buy it with 5 shekels, and you don't have the insurance. So once it gets lost or damaged, you won't be able to get your money back. You don't have the insurance. Now, the personal Ravkov, it's free of charge. You just need to go to the central bus station or train station, and you will get your own Ravkov. Sally, you're on mute as well, I think.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to review what I spoke about as well. And we talked about basic values in the caregiving work, right? Human dignity, autonomy, tolerance, empathy, and compassion, all of which make up care. I just want to say that yesterday when we heard Nympha talk about her experience, one of the things that she said that I think will be very helpful if you take to heart and are minded for it is that she always asks her her patient, or the woman that she's caring for, what she wants. Okay, I think she stressed it, and I think it's very important that we understand the importance of that, because human dignity, autonomy is all about that, asking the woman that or the man that we're caring for what he wants over and over again, because their abilities have diminished. She was telling us about when she met the woman, she was more she was walking around, she had more abilities. Now she's bedridden, and even more important, to ask every day what she wants to eat, what she wants to do during the day, this, that, and the other. And that really does allow a person to have as little choice as he is possibly able to, and maintain his dignity. I think that we all have a really hard issue giving up our our freedom, and our dignity is connected to that. And when we can make a choice, it allows us to feel in some way empowered. And so I just want to stress that how important it is to ask every time, every day, to allow your client to make decisions, even the smallest ones, how important that is. And of course, to be compassionate. I think that's, part of our DNA as caregivers, and to be proud of that. Next slide.
I think it will take a second. Okay, please.
Okay. And intercultural encounter. Okay, intercultural differences are difference in traditions, food, norms, belief, values, which vary between nations, people, ethnic groups, speakers of different languages. Every culture has its own way of expressing itself. Every culture has its own way of defining conflict, passing messages, resolving conflict, and talking about it. Every culture has its own way of expressing emotions and to talk about emotions. And I think that whoever has lived abroad has experienced, with other cultures knows that sometimes people are very introverted and they don't show emotions. It's not considered, polite. But I think that as caregivers, we are, like I said before, emotion workers, and it is our job to try to understand and know what our patient is feeling. And as Nympha said, in her experience, it wasn't just the patient, but also someone else from the family who was involved in the caregiving, a daughter that was living there or whatever. And very important to be sensitive to what the feelings are of the other person, whether they voice it or not, or how they express it is very important to learn. Okay, next slide. Okay. Before you talk about visas, I just want to emphasize another thing that perhaps is important to talk about, and that's privacy. I mentioned it before, but I want to mention it again. To guard your own privacy and to guard the privacy of your client, patient, and their family. Very important to be minded about that. Okay, to part of being respectful is to try to find out through their different cultures. Different cultures have different cues. What's important, what isn't important, what's private, what isn't private. So put an emphasis on finding out what that is, and to guard that. Okay, that's it. Go ahead, Anat. Next slide about visas.
Yes, thank you. All right. So we also sent you a recorded session where we spoke about visas and visas extension. There is a lot of information which we can talk about everything now. I recommend to go back to the recorded session and pay attention to the details. It is very important. Now, regarding your work visa, your visas, you will see the geographic area where you can work. When you or if you change an employer or agency, it must be in the area within your visa. Okay, in the same area, you won't be able to work in some other place. Now, your visa in your contract, you're allowed to be in Israel for 51 months. And in case you're working with the same employer in your last 12 months of your stay here in Israel, they have the option, if they still need your care, to ask for extension as long as they need you. Okay, in case your employer during those 12 months, your employer, if something happened, they move to a facility or they no longer need your care, you will stay in those 51 months, and in the last few months of your staying here, you'll be able to work. You'll be located in different with different employers for in the time when other caregivers, their caregivers, are taking a vacation, go on holidays, you will be able to replace them for that specific time. Now, in case you need to not change an employer, but sometimes even when you change or 11 months, 13 months, you're in a little extra, you're moving to a different employer, again, you may not be able to extend your visa. Let's see. Again, I recommend to go back and check, read the contract, and you have the information on the recorded session. Okay. Now, last thing that I want to say about that, I like to remind you that we don't recommend to switch or to change your employer or placement agency often. It will be noticed and you may have some problems. So if you like to change, make sure that you don't do that a lot. Is still Kiva will notice and they will check what is the matter. Now, I like to talk a little more about leave or change the employer. If you like to leave your employer, if you like to change an employer, you need to have first, or you need to prove that you made a genuine and sincere attempt to carry out with the same employer. Okay, if you have any issues, difficulties, we spoke about it at the beginning with our first session, that you need to try to overcome any issues that you have. If something is, you feel that there's something not right, you should contact your placement agency. You should talk to the family of the employer. Okay, you should try your best to make things work. I asked you at the beginning not to hold up any emotions, bad emotions. If you feel that they cause any harm, or if you had anything you feel that it's not right, if you're not getting enough sleep, if something ain't right, you should talk to your employer and their family. Okay, it is very important to communicate and share. Please don't hold back with anything that is wrong. Okay, because eventually you will explode. Like, you can't hold it for a long time. And then if you go to your agency or your employer and tell them it's been like for a while, something ain't right, and you don't give them the opportunity to fix that, uh, it you didn't make a sincere attempt, okay, to carry on. But in any case, if you want to change your employer or your placement agency, you don't need to ask for permission. You just need to give a prior written notice. Okay, in your contract, you will see how long in advance you need to give your written notice and how long you have to stay with the same employer before you leave. Okay, now I like to go over what we discussed. As we said, there is a special obligator period, or you have to give your written notice in advance, okay, in case you like to leave. We spoke about geographic limitation in your visa and change the employer or if you like to change the agency, yeah, it have to be in the same geographic limitation. We said that if you change your employer, or agency frequently, people will notice it may cause problems for you. I recommend not to do it very often. If possible, don't do it at all. And now there is a requirement concerning registration by foreign caregiver placement agency. And we spoke about COVID-19 situation, which is very important to be aware. And I sent you these two links at the beginning. The Ministry of Health, which they frequently update the details. Now, we spoke about the call center and how to leave a complaint. We also send you the recorded session. We send you the links on how to register. I like to remind you that you need to register with the Israeli SIM card when you'll get your Israeli SIM card, okay, with the Israeli number. If you change your number, there's no problem. You can register again and it will delete your old registration with the all details. Okay. Now, regarding the when you like to leave a complaint, or if you like to check your rights, if you have any questions or concerns, if you like to talk to someone in our call center, you just leave a message. You have here, you can see the way you can do that, and we also send it and show that on the recorded session. Okay, and you have a period of time when they contact back. They will call you back. Okay, Sarah. Sarah, can hear you.
Right. Okay, good. So we spoke about building and developing relationships with our client, patient, and creating, okay, good communication. We talked about that. Coordination of expectations, right? Talking about expectations, being aware of expectations that are not spoken about, right? Sometimes that happens as well. And of course, the most important thing is building trust. Creating the caregiving alliance, right? Talking about things, and it is a process, and taking into account social and cultural components. Okay, so that's the most important part of listening. Listening, being an active listener, and asking many questions, and writing things down, and being tolerant of yourself, and making mistakes, and being straight, being forward about it. And of course, using the I statement, we talked about that, not to be not to be shy about talking about what you feel. I want to also talk about personal safety for a minute. Okay. So basically, Israel is a safe country to walk around in during the day or night. You shouldn't have any issues with that. But, like anywhere else in the world, you have to use common sense, right? Not to walk around dark alleys in the middle of the night where there's no people, and always know where your destination is and how you're going to get there. I highly recommend that you use two applications that you can unload on your phone. One is for the transportation system, which is very good. I think it's called Move It. And the other one, if you need taxis, is Get Taxi. Also very recommended that you download this application. And when you order a taxi through that app, then always, who the driver is. He knows what the rate is. It's all, it's all set. And there shouldn't be any issues about taking you someplace or, going the wrong route, make it extra long or whatever. So they all use a meter, and it's very straightforward. And I highly recommend that you use that and don't use transportation that you don't know about, okay? We talked about building and developing relationships. Okay, we talked about all of that. Next slide. What else did we talk about in that?
Second, I like to add that regarding the Get Sexy, I will send you a link later after we're finished.
Okay, and also Move It. Oh, good, very good app to download on your phone.
Awesome.
It tells you, when the next public transportation or all types of transportation are available from where you are and where you want to go. So it's very easy to use and highly recommended. Okay, gives you a time and so on. Okay, so tools for effective communication. Understanding how others communicate can be a key to getting your message across to them in order to develop effective communication style. And we talked about a few tips. Take ownership, use the I statement, maintain eye contact, very important. Voice your needs and desires confidently, and don't forget to smile. We didn't smile yet. Let's see everybody smiling. I want to tell you something about smiling, guys. Everybody has, like down minutes, down days, down whatever, and up minutes, up days. But when you're minded about how a smile affects you and your surroundings, you really should make a very big effort to smile, even if you don't feel like it. I highly recommend it. And from what I know about research, when you smile, just the fact that your face goes into that kind of a place, there are endorphins that are released in your brain that automatically make you feel better. So, it's a cycle of what makes you feel better and what makes you want to smile. So you can start at any place in the circle. You can start by smiling, and then it'll make you feel better, and then you want to smile anyway. So just a small tip. Yeah, smiling is good, especially if you're a foreigner in a foreign place and you want to, use all the charm and all the magic that you have in your personality to kind of, charm your situation into a good place. You got to do that. So tools for effective communication, active listening, very important. Okay, we want to really listen, look in a person's eye, communicate that our body is relaxed and we're all for them. Okay. Reflection, in order to make sure you understand what a person is saying, you repeat their words, you ask if you understood correctly. It gives a person a good feeling that he's been heard and understood. Empathy, of course, we want to try to empathize with people that we're talking about. If they're at discomfort, if they're anxious, if they're, angry, whatever, we want to first empathize and then try to see how we can intervene to change a negative situation into a more relaxed, positive situation. And of course, use the I message in a direct way. Okay, say what you understand, what you feel, what you think, and so on. So tools for effective communication, patience. Okay, be very patient with the client, his family, and most important with yourself. Okay, take the time to get to know the people around you. It's new to them and it's new to you. Okay, and I think I've said before, even though the family might be, have a whole list of things and expectations, some they talked about, some they didn't talk about, it takes time to adjust. Okay, so they may be disappointed in the beginning. You're not big enough, you're too small, you're too big, you're too, young, you're too old. All of those things can come up, can come down, but basically, it's a dance. I like to think about building a relationship as a dance, okay? 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, and with everybody having good intentions, kind of get into the same pattern. Tolerance, Okay. And if you don't agree with your client or your patient, try to respect his opinion. Don't want to argue. You don't want to cause any stress. And nonverbal communication, we talked about that, how important that is when talking to a patient. Maintain eye contact, try to speak at eye level, not above him, not below him. Relax your speech and calm your tone. I think that it's very important that you are minded about all the little things that make people feel more comfortable and relaxed. And it's very important that you learn what those things are in that particular person's house or family, what the music that they like, what the food that they like, what makes them feel good about smells, you know, something that's cooking, something that's baking, soap and water, you know, hand cream, foot cream, maybe massaging a neck, maybe not touching them at all. It's all very important things, little things that make a very big difference in how you interact with the person that you're supposed to take care of and make him feel good. So tips for creating a good relationship: be mindful of how you start a conversation, okay? Ask open questions, use the I statement, be specific in the message that you want to transfer, right? Short, concise sentences, very important. And give, of course, the others the attitude that you want to receive yourself. This is the basis for all relationships, no matter what culture and what language. Next slide, Anat. Okay, culture shock and adjustment. You're there.
Yes. Okay, so some of you may experience already and feel the culture shock. And the rest of you may feel it sooner or a bit later than others. Now, it takes time to adjust when you are moving to a new country, different culture. It takes time to adjust, okay? And what I recommend is to be a tourist, okay? On your days off, travel in Israel, travel in the area where you live, and try to communicate with new people. I think you be able to learn a lot by walking around, travel, enjoy the country. It's exciting new period in your life, and I highly recommend doing that and enjoy the time you're here. Okay? Now, I also recommend to learn the language, learn Hebrew. It will help self-esteem. It will help you communicate with your employer and with others. You will understand what people are saying if it's on the street or when you walk with your employer to the doctor's office. You will get more comfortable with the language. So I truly recommend, and we spoke about all the information you have online, and you have the Duolingo app, which is free. If you decided to go and check those apps that you need to pay for, I recommend before doing so, please go online and check the reviews. Okay. I also recommend to be proactive about your physical health. Okay. Pay attention to your diet, hygiene. If you can, exercise in your room while your employer is asleep. Um, I think it's very important to stay active, okay, and relax. Okay. Now, we recommend to keep a diary or even a blog. You will see a lot of people online. Um, they publish a blog and they share about their experience. You can do the same if you like. But I like to add an important thing is that if you take photos of your employer, make sure that if you like to add it to your blog for some reason or send it to someone, please be respectful. Ask, okay, if it's possible, okay. Don't do it and assume that it's okay. And now we recommend to stay in touch with your family and friends. And if there are any events at home or anything, just stay in touch with them. This is so important, okay? And it will help you just in your time here and you stay here in Israel. And that leaves us with the next slide regarding the communication with your family in distance. It is very hard to maintain those relationships, but they're so important. Okay, um, so set a specific time in the day or a specific hour where you know you communicate with your family. You're on a video call or anything. If you have kids, wake them up in the morning or talk to them when they come back from school and before they go to sleep. Stay there, stay in spirit, make sure you see them. If you um, if you have any events, try to participate, even if you're on a video call. Okay, and if you have any issues back at home, fight. If you're arguing, if there are decisions that need to be made, be a part, take a part. And if there are any arguments or fights, make sure not to do that by text messaging and do it on video call. Okay, because sometimes you can understand the tone of the message and it could lead to further issues with your relationships. Okay, and this is an opportunity right now to set in high quality communication with your loved ones back at home. Okay, now if you if it's hard for you, make sure to communicate or keep texting messages and be involved in their life while your patient is or anything like that. Just make sure that you still present and you can introduce your patient with your family, even on your video call. Okay. Now, we received one question um, in the form that I sent you. I'll read it for you. I've been quarantined for 6 days now, alone. Is it okay to accommodate people, let's see, from other country, even though we had a separate room? Unfortunately, you cannot. We discussed about it many times, and even at our first online meeting here last week, that unfortunately you cannot accommodate or see people that have not been with you in the same room or the same apartment, and you didn't hang out together. It may be risky for you and you cannot take that risk. There's a reason why you are quarantine, and the same it applies to them as well. You don't know would they say with? There's a reason why they have to be in quarantine as well. So unfortunately, the answer is no. Now, if there are any questions that you like to ask or concerns, I invite you to do that now. Anyone like to ask anything? Anyone like to add?
Well, I would like to add something. Maybe we talked about it, but I'd like to stress it again. Going back to what Nympha said about her routine, her daily routine. I assume that everyone has a routine when they get up in the morning, when they take their medicine, when they bathe, when they eat, and so on. But I I assume that all of that is going to be in some way in your charge. And so I highly recommend that you try to be proactive in encouraging your client to be more active, okay, in all the different aspects, to exercise, see what his abilities are, going for a walk, playing a game, I don't know, checkers, domino, whatever. Make a list of family members and for him to call and ask about people that are important to him, not just to wait for them to call him. Is also about friends and so on. Encourage them to be more active. With your help, they can do that, right? And also use your skills on the internet. Obviously, you will be communicating with your family through all the different apps or your interests, as Nympha was sharing with us that she does karaoke and she joins prayer groups on the internet and so on. And there's a whole life that people share through the internet. And I'm assuming that most of your patients are not into that, not part of their lifestyle. So yeah, try to connect them. I'm sure that families will be very willing to allow them to have their own computer, desktop, whatever, or they have one available at home. Play games, visit museums, hear lectures, hear religious lectures, whatever their interest in life was involved in. Try to help them to be more active, in that way. I think it would be beneficial to everyone to be, more active for you as well as for your client. And also because of Corona, it really set back all the people that have been in their home, kind of anxious and scared to meet people, staying away, maybe not going out as much as before, not going to friends, not going to play games with social events if they were involved in those things. So many people have been really isolated, and all of that is a very negative effect on health, obviously, as well. So yeah, take a proactive part and learning about what makes them feel good and trying to introduce them to new ways of continuing their, whatever was their interest through media and so on. That's just my emphasis I wanted to add. And anyone have any questions about anything, politics, love, just, anything at all. We're here for you.
Yeah, we invite you to ask anything. Maybe I see the private message. All right.
Any questions, Sanat? Any comments from anyone?
Let's see. I just received a question privately. So I've
Ma'am,
been
excuse
asked.
me. Ma'am,
Yes, please.
excuse us for now because we're going to our swab
Oh,
test.
you told me. Yeah, you told me you have to go to your swab test.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
luck. It's
Thank you,
been
ma'am.
lovely
Best of
to
luck
you.
to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye bye. So I just received a question. Whether is it okay um, to invite a friend to stay in the next room beside you, um, or is your home quarantine, and invite them to your room? And like I said before, the answer is no, unless you, I don't know if you mean that you're on the same group, same flight, and you've been this week, you've been together the entire week. If the answer is no, unfortunately, like I said before, um, you cannot, invite them.
After you have your second swab test and you're healthy and well, obviously that's probably possible. But until that happens, you really
Um,
should stay away from people that you don't know.
um,
You don't want to
um,
jeopardize anything that you've already come so far.
that's true, but your neighbors to your home quarantine, if you're not in together since the beginning, if we're talking about other people, other countries, they're new in their home quarantine, you don't know um, what they have, if they were exposed to anyone with COVID. Okay, so unless they done their second swab test, after that, I believe it will be okay, but not before that. Anyone else have any question? You can write it on the group and I'll read. You can send a text message. All right. So I like to remind you that we stay in touch. Um, Again, I highly recommend to register to the call center. Please register in advance. Make sure that you know how to use the call to how to approach the call center. See if it's easy for you or not. Just have it on um, available, okay? And don't wait till you need it, an SOS thing, okay? Now here you have the details, our phone call, and of course we're available on the Viber group. Okay, I can send the link for registration again. And like I said, when you get your Israeli SIM card, now in any way, we send vital information. Okay, if there is new information, we will send it to you. All right, so if there are any more questions, you're welcome to ask. If you have any concerns or anything, I invite you to do so. You can send it also on Viber, okay? And if not, uh, hold on, let me check. I just received another question. Um, I think I've already. Hmm. Quarantine from other country. Okay, so I see that person who asked the question of before regarding the home quarantine and inviting person. Already did it. So I don't recommend, but since it happened already, there's nothing I can add now. And so I like to thank everyone. Thank you for participating in our orientation program. And I like to wish everyone a good luck and the best and take care. And if anyone have anything to add, Sarah, maybe
Enjoy your
I really
stay.
enjoyed.
It's going to be an exciting time for all of you. Take advantage of everything that's, available to you. Like Anat said, to travel, to learn about different people. Israel is very international, different, from all over the world. People come here, different religions. Yeah, experience it all and enjoy it. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Sure.
ma'am.
Thank
We
you,
will
ma'am.
see you again.
Thank you, Miss
Toda.
Sarah.
Bye.
Ma'am Sarah.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.